Hey everyone, welcome to That's Good Denver. I'm your host Chris Romeo, and today I'll be doing a tier list for the NBA playoffs on who I think is going to be making the playoffs or not, and rocking the Jokic jersey for this video. Um, so yeah, I'll be we're about halfway through the NBA season, and I'll be doing my uh picks on who I think is locked and loaded for a playoff spot, who's already locked and loaded, and championship contenders, teams that are safe bet for the playoffs, teams that are maybe a playoff spot but most likely a play-in team, um, doubtful playoff chances but maybe a play-in team, and teams that are playing for next year who are lottery teams. So yeah, every team's played about half their games, 42 games, and yeah, let's get started. So first up in the West, we got the Utah Jazz, and the Jazz, they're locked and loaded. I think the way they're playing right now. Donovan Mitchell, and they can score a lot of points and stuff, and yeah, they're looking really good. Next up in the East, I got the New York Knicks, and the Knicks, they're maybe playoffs. I think they're most likely a play-in team. I think they will be a play-in team in the East. Julius Randle is a little overrated in my opinion. I think. I mean, they got some good pieces. I mean, Julius Randle is a good piece. Don't get me wrong, but uh, I think they're a play-in team though. Next up in the West, we got the Sacramento Kings. The Kings, I I think their playoff chances are doubtful. The way the West is stacked, but I think they're definitely a team that can maybe make the play in. I think they will make a play in. To be honest, um, they're going in the right direction. They've gotten some good draft picks over the past couple of years that help them. They got Buddy Hield, Rashawn Holmes, um, and yeah, got some good talent. I got to see the Kings take on my Nuggets in person a couple weeks ago. Um, Next up in the East, we got the Atlanta Hawks. Um, the Hawks, I the way their record is right now, I want to give them. I could give them the benefit of the doubt, say maybe playoffs, most likely play in, but uh, I'm gonna say doubtful right now. But they could definitely be a play-in team. Trey Young is playing. He's not as good as last year. Because he's not getting those cheap foul calls, and they made a Cinderella run in the playoffs last year, made it the Eastern Conference Finals, but yeah, right now they're just not playing as well. They could be a play-in team. Next up in the West, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans, yeah, they might make the play-in tournament. I doubt that they would make it to the playoffs. I'm not sure if Zion's even playing right now. They've kind of been a little bit of disappointment, I think. Expected him to be better once they drafted Zion, but he's had some injury problems and stuff. Ever since he's been on the Pelicans, at least a few injury problems. Next up in the East, we got the Toronto Raptors. Raptors, they might make it. They might make it to the playoffs for sure. I think they'll be a play-in team at least. They got Pascal Siakam and some other good, some decent talent around them. So yeah, I think they'll be a play-in team. Next up, we got your Denver Nuggets, and you'd think they'd be a safe bet but for the injuries they have and the way their season's been up and down, they're maybe a playoff team. They're most likely a play-in team. I think if they do get in the play-in tournament, I think they'll be a 7 seed or so, and they'll find their way in the playoffs. I could see them getting like a 6 seed. I mean, it's just a lot of teams between like 5 and 9 in the Western Conference who are going to be so tight throughout the season. With the Nuggets, Jokic is playing MVP level. He's second in the race, right behind Giannis, and Once they get Jamal Murray back, hopefully they get him back in like a month or so. There's a good chance that could happen. Who knows? They can make a playoff push maybe. Um, Next up, we got the 76ers in the East. I would say, there's it's such a logjam in the East too. Between the play-in and the playoff spot. So I think there'll be maybe a playoffs team, but I can't put them at safe bet. So I'll say maybe playoffs and most likely play-in. I mean, I think they'll be a playoff team, but I'm not going to put them at safe bet yet. Next up in the West, we got the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks are in the same position as the Nuggets. It's kind of a logjam between those teams. So I'm gonna put them at maybe playoffs, most likely play-in. Now, obviously, all these teams, can't make it in the play-in. There's going to be a lot of these teams, but the Mavericks are playing well right now. They got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, and yeah, they're a scary team to face. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets in the East. I'm gonna put them. I would put them at locked and loaded, but for right now, I'm gonna put them at safe bet. Just because they have injury problems right now, and KD is hurt. He's gonna be out for some weeks. They'll definitely be a playoff team though, and they'll be pushing for to be a finals contender. Next up in the West, we got the Portland Trailblazers. Their playoff chances are doubtful, and they're maybe a play-in team. Damian Lillard's played well and stuff, and he's been injured too, and they have C.J. McCollum, but they might trade away Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, and that might be not good for them. Next up in the East, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Bucks are locked and loaded. They just defending champs are going for another championship. They got like the number 3 seed in the West right now, or in the East, excuse me. And Giannis is playing really well, and he's got some good talent around him too. Next up, we got the Phoenix Suns in the West. Yep, the Suns are locked and loaded. They just made it the championship last year. They have the best record in the league. Chris Paul, Devin Booker are playing really well. I think they're really good. Next up, we got the Chicago Bulls. Bulls, a lot of people want me to put them at locked and loaded, but I'm going to put them at safe bet. Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball's playing out of his mind right now. And, they're a really good team, I think. They could be pushing for a finals spot, sometime in the foreseeable future. Next up in the West, we got the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors are locked and loaded. They've been a little off lately the past week or so. They fell to second in the West, but Steph Curry took some time off and stuff. They'll definitely make it to the playoffs, and they'll be pushing for the finals. Now they got Klay Thompson back too, which should definitely help, and they'll be a real threat in the West. Next up, we got the Boston Celtics. The thing with Celtics, the talent is there, but the chemistry is an issue for them with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I'm gonna say maybe playoffs, most likely play-in. I think they will be a play-in team, just like they were last year. Last year they kind of had a down year, and this year it's been kind of disappointing so far too. Next up, we got the LA Clippers. They're in the same boat, maybe playoffs, most likely a play-in team, same boat as the Mavericks and Nuggets. They got injury problems too. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both out right now. Who knows when Kawhi Leonard's going to come back? It's been a while. And, Paul George has been out for a while too. Next up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would say I want to put them at safe bet, but I think they'll at least be they're probably going to be a playoff team, but I'm going to say maybe playoffs. They're a little young right now. Evan Mobley might get Rookie of the Year. He's super good, and Darius Garland is playing very well too. So they got some young talent, and their team definitely on the rise. Next up, we got the LA Lakers, and they're in the same boat. Maybe playoffs, most likely playing. They got LeBron right now, but Russell Westbrook isn't playing well right now, and Anthony Davis is hurt. Um, so yeah, I mean, most people think Lakers would be safe, better, locked and loaded, but right now it's not looking that good for them. I think they're 21 and 22 and like eighth in the West. Next up, we got the Detroit Pistons in the East. Yeah, they're a lottery team. Kate Cunningham is pretty good. They got, I think they got Mason Plumlee still and Jeremy Grant. Uh, but yeah, I mean, hopefully they get better sometime soon, but it's just not looking good for them right now. Next up, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. They're definitely a safe bet. I would want to put them at locked and loaded, a championship contender, but they're just a little young. And Ja Morant's really good. He's playing out of his mind right now. I mean, this Grizzlies team is good. They just won 11 straight the other day. And yeah, I like this Grizzlies team. That they have a bright future, such a young team, and yeah, they're really good. They're for real. Next up, we got the Indiana Pacers. I would want to put them at doubtful playoff chances, maybe play-in, but I gotta put them at a lottery team. I mean, they're like 6 games out of a play-in spot right now, and haven't really had much to show for it. It's been a disappointing season. So, yeah, sorry to the Pacers fans. Next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs. They're not too far out of a playoff spot right now, so I'll put them at doubtful playoff chances and maybe play-in. Yeah, and who knows? I mean, I just don't think the Spurs are really that good of a team. Next up, we got the Orlando Magic. The Magic are definitely a lottery team. They have the worst record in the league right now, with only like 8 wins. They got Cole Anthony. Maybe they can get some pieces, and they're kind of just in rebuild mode, I think, right now. Next up, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're a maybe playoff team, most likely play-in. They've been a little pretty impressive to start the season. Anthony Edwards is pretty good, and they got some other good pieces. They got Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, some other players I can't name off the top of my head, but they're in that log jam, like 5 through 9 in the West right now. So yeah, they're pretty good. Next up, we got the Washington Wizards. The Wizards started off really well, but they've been dealing with injury problems. Bradley Beal even got hurt at one point. He's still playing well. So I'm gonna put them. Yeah, I'm gonna put them at maybe playoffs, most likely play-in. They're a decent team. I think they will be a play-in team. The way it's kind of been up and down for them. I mean, they started off really well, and they got cold, so it's kind of been up and down for them. But better than what I expected out of the Wizards this year. Next up, we got the OKC Thunder. Yeah, I would want to put them at doubtful playoff chances, but maybe play-in. But I got to put them at lottery team. They're kind of far out of a play-in spot right now. But they're a team on the rise. I mean, they got some good young talent. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and some other good young pieces. So I think like next year, they'll be, or like in the very foreseeable future, they're going to be, like a pretty decent team and like going in the right direction. I think they're going in the right direction right now. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets. I'm gonna say maybe playoffs, but most likely playing. They definitely could get a playoff spot. LaMelo Ball's playing out of his mind. He's getting some other good pieces around him now. I think the Hornets are a good team. They're going in the right direction, I think. Next up, we got the Houston Rockets in the West, and they're a lottery team. They have the worst record in the West. Trading away a Russell Westbrook and James Harden, that kind of put them in rebuild mode. I mean, they got a couple good draft picks for it. There's kind of rebuild mode. Hopefully they can get in the right direction sometime soon. And lastly, we got the Miami Heat, and the Heat, either locked and loaded or safe bet. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna put them at safe bet. They probably could. I mean, they're a championship contender. But the East, it's kind of tight with the standings right now. They might be number one in the East, but Jimmy Butler's playing out of his mind. I mean, they got a really good team. Kyle Lowry, Kyle Lowry getting traded to them this offseason definitely helped, and yeah, I think they're a really good team. Let me know who you think's gonna make it to the playoffs or not. All quick. So yeah, out of all 30 teams, I have 4 teams locked and loaded. 4 teams that are safe bet. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 teams that are maybe playoffs, most likely playing, and 5 teams that are doubtful playoff chances, maybe playing, and 5 teams that are lottery teams and probably won't make it to the playoffs. I don't think. But let me know in your comments. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll try to make some NBA or some NBA recap videos for the Nuggets coming up, maybe. But that's it, everybody. I'm Chris Romeo, and that's Good Denver. Good night.